Here to react to that news is a man who was looking into Hunter Biden's tax problems. He is an IRS whistleblower who blew the whistle on the United States Department of Justice's cover up of Hunter Biden's crimes. Gary Shapley is here. Gary, great to have you back with us, sir.
Hey, Vince. Thanks for having me.
Let me just start with your basic reaction to the news that Hunter Biden was pardoned this week. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we weren't surprised. I mean, we were expecting it to come. We knew it was going to come. Really, the most surprising part is just the way the president of the United States just really threw away all of his credibility and lied to the American people. It was really just so brazen. Every time we heard him say it, it was a little bit cringeworthy, and it's a little bit disconcerting for what else they may have misrepresented or lied about.
So, this must drive you crazy for another reason, which is that you spent all this time on a case that ended up being completely wiped out. Because here, President Biden has stepped in to do what he always intended to do, which is issue a big pardon for Hunter. So, why did they waste so much of your time and American tax dollars on even looking into this?
No, Vince, I have no regrets coming forward. You have to imagine if we didn't come forward, David Weiss and the Department of Justice would have covered all this up. The American people wouldn't have known what happened with the Biden crime family. And to be honest, it really gives the true sense of President Biden and his political party now, where if Hunter Biden spent a few months in jail, it is what it is. But, I would argue it could be more important for the American people to see, the true colors of the President Biden.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I didn't think that you regretted coming out. I just thought that it was such a waste of your time to even begin this investigation in the first place. Biden could have just issued this pardon out the gate, and instead of wasting your time and so much money, and yet here we are. So you lived through this experience of trying to investigate Hunter Biden's tax situation. He failed to pay taxes for years. You were looking into it, and you started traveling down all these roads to figure out what was going on there. Now, one of the revelations that came from your testimony is that whenever you got close to looking into Joe Biden's connection, you were warned off of that. Is that right?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
And then additionally, when you started looking into who was paying off all of Hunter Biden's tax bills, a guy called Kevin Morris, your testimony is that the CIA intervened to stop you from being able to dig into that?
Yeah, I provided an affidavit to House Ways and Means Committee, and it was concerning the CIA contacting two Department of Justice and David Weiss's office, and two prosecutors went to Langley for a classified briefing. And at the end of that briefing, these prosecutors came back and said that Kevin Morris couldn't be a witness for us because of what they learned at CIA.
Do you have any theories as to why the CIA did that or why they're involved at all?
No, I mean it would all be assumptions. I mean there's a few possibilities, but I'll leave that to your imagination.
Yeah, my imagination is that there's something going on in Ukraine that involves the CIA that they don't want public. That's where my imagination's been, and it's remarkable to me the number of times the CIA seems to pop up in this story, Gary Shapley.
Yeah, well, I told the truth about their intervention here, and what's up for. I mean, the committee's chairmen sent a letter to CIA asking for more information. Their first response said, "Oh no, you're absolutely incorrect. You don't know what's going on." And then after I sent the affidavit with emails attached, they sent another letter and said, "How about now?" And to my knowledge, they haven't responded yet.
That's just amazing. So if you were to assess the current state of our government, the left is Joe Biden's party is routinely telling us that everyone's just a hardworking civil servant and that they're being wrongly attacked and slandered for being corrupt or for being politically biased. One thing that really struck me from Joe Biden's statement this week, and perhaps it struck you too, Gary Shapley, is he claimed that the United States Department of Justice was politically singling out his son. That, in fact, the system was tilted against Hunter because of his last name. What did you make of that claim coming from Joe Biden or whoever wrote that statement?
Well, that's just another misrepresentation of the facts, right? So they want you to believe that, and the narrative they want the American public to believe is that somehow the Republicans intervened when DOJ was trying to not charge Hunter Biden. But the fact is that Department of Justice, even while limiting our investigative reach and not looking at Joe Biden, we obtained evidence that proved that Hunter Biden was guilty of tax violations and a gun charge, and potentially others that weren't charged. And DOJ in 2022, we were going to charge. We were ready to charge. We recommended the charges to Department of Justice Tax Division, and that's when David Weiss had to go to a Biden-appointed U.S. attorney in Washington, D.C., because David Weiss didn't have authority to charge outside his district. So Matthew Graves, U.S. attorney in D.C., said, nope, you can't charge here. At that time, David Weiss requested special charging authority from Merrick Garland, and he even testified to this in Congress, and he was not given that special charging authority. So he could not charge those charges in D.C., and that was 2014 and 2015. Those were the Ukraine Burisma years. And then, of course, they had to go to California to get permission from Martin Estrada, the U.S. attorney out there, and he responded, no, you can't charge here. So that was at the end of 2022. So now the Department of Justice under President Biden stopped David Weiss and DOJ from charging even the tax charges. And it wasn't until Joe Ziegler and I came forward where they tried to cover up what they had done with the 2 misdemeanor plea deal. And, of course, that fell through after the judge saw what we had provided to House Ways and Means Committee. And, then he's finally held accountable because the Department of Justice knew that they couldn't cover it up anymore. So, the narrative, they want to pretend that it starts after they decided not to charge. But the truth is that it's the President Biden's U.S. attorney stepped in and wouldn't allow David Weiss to charge, and Merrick Garland wouldn't give him the authority to charge. And that contradicts what Merrick Garland and David Weiss told Congress.
Yeah, the news we had this weekend, that big pardon, that would have never happened were it not for you coming out and Joseph Ziegler coming out and blowing the whistle, because that sweetheart plea deal would have gone through. Hunter Biden would have been able to get away with all of it, and they would have been able to sweep it under the rug. But instead, we only got to this place because of your whistleblowing.
Sure, yeah, and even worse. Look, they weren't going to charge him. On May 15th, 2023, there's an email that Abby Lowell released to Congress and to the media that said that was offering them a deferred prosecution agreement. That means that he wouldn't be charged at all. And it was just a couple weeks later when David Weiss and DOJ learned that I was testifying in front of House Ways and Means Committee. That's when David Weiss said, "Hey, you got to get a two misdemeanor plea deal," because they knew what we were going to do, and it was DOJ's way to continue to hide it from the public. And if we hadn't come forward, none of the public would know about this. They wouldn't have seen President Biden's true colors. And, that's why it was worth coming forward.
I don't know if you know the answer to this. Whatever happened to your DOJ handler? Or I don't know, maybe I'm misunderstanding her role. But there was a woman called Leslie Wolf whose name kept popping up in this story. And as I understand it, you were working with her. And every time you went down a road, like, for instance, you want to dig into Joe Biden, she was the one to tell you, no, you can't do that. She's also apparently the person who negotiated the sweetheart plea deal on Hunter Biden's behalf. Whatever happened to her?
Yeah, that's correct. She actually left the government, and I'm not at liberty to stop the government eventually become public.
Okay, I missed. For some reason, your answer broke up, but it sounds like you said you're not at liberty to talk about what happened after that.
Yeah, she left the government, and I can't really talk about why.
Okay, all right. Well, you're the whistleblower. You've got a lot of credibility here, so I'll accept that. It just remarkable. And then, what do you want to see happen next here, Gary Shapley? Obviously, you've come forward. You want the American people to know about this corruption within the government. What can be done to fix it?
Well, we need to focus our attention on Department of Justice. And there's some triggering words like politicalization and weaponization, and I try to stay away from them. But it's absolutely the truth in our case. There's no better example of the weaponization of the government, a Department of Justice against the Republican Party, other than what happened with Hunter Biden. And, with this new administration coming in, I'm incredibly optimistic. I've been fighting the bureaucracy, since I became a federal government employee. And it's bureaucracy. It's all about process, and they don't really care about results, right? And it was clear here. So accountability and transparency are the things that will kill bureaucracy. So I'm hoping that there's some way, shape, or form I can assist the incoming administration and help clean up the IRS, help clean up DOJ, and help clean up FBI.
I was just about to ask, do you have any plans to, or is there anything in the works for you to work with the incoming administration?
Look, it'd be an honor to work for President Trump, his administration, and if he ever wanted me to do so, I would with great honor.
Well, I have a suspicion that there are people within the sound of both of our voices who might be taking you very seriously right now. So I really hope you're a part of it, because you've been a part of a really important thing, which is transparency and just loyalty to your oath. Gary Shapley, thank you very much, as always. Good to talk to you.